Hey friends. So I've had some pretty great experiences over the last few days, week or two, few weeks, I'd say. Kind of starting at the piano and then rippling out into life, as so often happens in my life. And one of the, I would say maybe one of the kind of starting points was a lesson that I had with Madeline, my piano teacher. I think it was 2.5 weeks ago. And I had been practicing really it's like there's a sequence that I can trace where I had been practicing a piece really I think pretty well. I was really feeling my hands in a new way. Went into my lesson, got an adjustment that was a physical adjustment, essentially amounting to carrying a lot less tension in my wrists from note to note, from kind of emphasis point to the non-emphasis point, like letting go more between moments of exertion. Practiced like that for a week or for 2 weeks, and then got to another lesson, and I had practiced that pretty well and pretty effectively, and Madeline gave me the adjustment. Now listen. Now drop that focus on the technique and simply listen to what you're doing. And so I did that. And it was like something totally new opened up. It was like I just all of a sudden felt a level of security that I'm not sure I've almost maybe ever quite felt while playing technically challenging classical music like this. So it was really a pretty big shift. And I even noticed that when there's a handful of times when I would play the piano at somebody else's house, or I'd be playing here at home and some people would be listening, and I'd be kind of aware of playing for an audience. And I had a sense while doing so that I had total control of what I was doing. That feeling of either an urgency, like a kind of like out of control urgency to play well, to play faster, whatever, which I'm all too familiar with. That impulse just wasn't there. And in place of that, I just had a sense of, like, it was almost like being able to settle, being able to ground into the music. And the presence of listeners did not change that, didn't make me all of a sudden feel a pressure or an urgency in an uncomfortable way. It just gave me, I felt like I was kind of bouncing the music off of the listener in a way, like taking the music and able to project it, able to give it, to offer it. And but maintaining control, maintaining total control over the creation process. And it was a really powerful feeling, because it's something that, it's almost like I've been craving that sense for a long time, and I've known it was possible. And I watch pianists play, and I go, I see what they're feeling, and I know it's like I resonate with the feeling that I'm witnessing. But I really feel like it's only really recently that I felt like I know how to do that. And I would even say I'm in the beginning stages of that. I think that I think that now that is the practice. Now that is what I'm practicing when I sit at the piano. I have a sense of that it's a kind of faith, but it's not a faith that's like whatever happens happens. It's not a faith that is detached from control. It's a faith that is based on a sense of here's how my approach is a reflection of the product. Here's how the process that I'm in really is the product, and not the approach is laced with intentions that then kind of ultimately, it's like I may try to convince myself that the approach is a kind of pure representation of the product, but actually it's not. Actually, there's an underlying current of urgency or some kind of ego thing in there getting in the way. Letting that, really kind of recognizing when I am truly listening to the music and bouncing off the music. In my last lesson with Madeline, we were talking about the analogy with being an actor in a scene with other actors on stage, other characters on stage, and being genuinely affected by the other people in the space, instead of having sort of like a big psychological world of my character that I'm sort of like driving through the scene with, actually being in response, genuinely affected by these other characters. Well, in classical music, in piano anyway, one performer, one instrument, the other character in the scene is Chopin or Mozart or Beethoven. We are in response to them. That's the other character. That's the other actor. That's the person, the energy that we're in dialogue with. So, man, letting that kind of settle in and just truly taking that on as the sort of the thing I'm doing, the foundation of what I'm doing, the intention of my practice is big. It's a big shift. And obviously that recognition or that change in my kind of musical life, that discovery, started to then roll around my awareness and go, well, what about the rest of your life? How is this understanding? How is this approach of deep connected listening, of truly being in response to what's here? How is that relevant in the rest of your life? And that's the thing that has come up just in the last day or so. It's kind of been the thing that has started to take shape around the last, several weeks of musical experience. It's kind of this little life lesson starting to show up and ask me the question, what? How deeply can I listen to life? how can I, because there are other areas of my life where where I still feel that urgency, that sense of like, and I know it's ego, kind of energy propelling me into a feeling of, well, I got to do this, or I'm not good at this, or I got to do this better, or I got to do more of that, got to somehow be better at this, and it's, and having seen that drain away from my piano practice, and having observed the effect of that energy draining out and what's left over and what happens now in the practice, I'm like, why would I not want to drain that energy out of every area of my life? Why would I want to let it play anywhere in my life? So I'm working with that. I think, the thing is, my approach to this on piano was really quite concrete. There's a craft to the art form, and that craft becomes that craft is the toolkit. There are specific things that I was doing that gave me the possibility of seeing a new approach. And I had to work my way through those steps. I didn't just get to drop it all. The energy didn't just drain out because I said, okay, I'm not doing that energy anymore. I was like very intensely and very rigorously working my way through certain elements of the toolkit. And so there may be some of that's necessary in these areas of my life where there's more of like a sticking point still, or I still feel like that energy is kind of there. It may not be that I just need to let it all go, man. It may be that I need to get more serious about the technique, get more serious about the practice in those areas of my life, and then see if by intensifying my own rigor, my own discipline, my own focus, if that doesn't create the opportunity for those other areas of my life to also open into a much more, okay, now I'm listening, I'm relaxed, here I am kind of place. I'm responding. So it's a lesson that is still nascent in a way, and I'm just observing it. And my realization just now, as I was speaking about, maybe there's, the tendency is, because ultimately a realization like that sort of transcends technique. It was kind of by transcending the technique of the piano that I found the ease. But I did not transcend the technique by ignoring it. I only transcended it after really deeply and continuing, and that's the ongoing work, continuing to be so rigorous about the technique that it fades into the background and something else is able to become available. I have a feeling that's what maybe also will work in these other areas of my life. So I'm articulating this lesson for myself because it's a big one, and it feels like it potentially could be very, very rich in a lot of other ways as well. So that's where I am today, folks. Much, much love. I appreciate you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.